Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. So today is going to be a Savannah vlog. My husband and I went to Savannah for our 9-year anniversary. It was our first time to Savannah. Neither one of us had ever been, and we stayed at Perry Lane Hotel. If you are new to my channel, we generally stay at Marriott properties, and this one did not disappoint. I mean, they basically won me over as soon as they offered champagne at check-in. But I am going to give you guys a little tour of the room. I will give you like little tours of different spaces in the hotel throughout the video, but right now I am just going to focus on the room because that is the first place that we went to, and the room was absolutely beautiful. We stayed at 2 different hotels for our trip. In the next video, I will talk more about our second hotel. So one thing you may or may not notice in this setup is that there is no coffee or tea. So in the mini fridge, there actually were other drinks, beer and stuff, but I didn't actually open that for the video. But anyway, back to the coffee and tea. The Emporium is where you have to get that. So they don't have it in the room, but you can go down and get the coffee and tea. They ask for your room number because you only get one. So you can't go and just have like unlimited coffee or tea, which was kind of a bummer. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But there was one time when my husband went down to get it and he had to wait in line. And obviously you're kind of going to get better stuff down here, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to get what you want without having to wait in line. But the Emporium Kitchen and Wine Market has a restaurant, it has a bar, they do happy hour and Martini Mondays, so a really fun place. But we decided to head out once we were settled, and we walked toward the river to Common for happy hour. Common is a brunch and dinner spot. Seems really good for oyster lovers, which I am not. But we started off with a pesto crab caprese, and Evan got the chef's tasting menu, which came with a lot of stuff. It had sourdough with butter, rock du jour, which was smoked oysters. There was a sorbet and sparkling wine as a palate cleanser. And he ended up getting the smoked duck confit, and I got the shrimp and grits. Then we also ended up with a peach creme brulee. But I wanted to real quick show Marshall House because it was a hospital during the Civil War and through 2 yellow fever epidemics. And so if you were looking at another place to stay, it is one of the most haunted hotels in Savannah. This is definitely not something I'm used to doing in Pennsylvania, but we went to Colonial Park Cemetery, which has the burial site for Button Gwinnett, and he was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. So that was a really neat stop before we headed out to Ghosts and Gravestones for a tour. I would say make sure to check online for a coupon. We did not do that and realized afterward that they do have them online. And we ended up with a fantastic tour guide, Madame Rouge. She was phenomenal. She was so knowledgeable, and she had like a huge personality. So that was really fun. There were 2 stops with this tour. The first one that you will see is at the Andrew Lowe House, and that one I was allowed to record in, but the second stop you won't see on this video because there was no recording allowed. We were actually able to take advantage of going to the Emporium for coffee and tea on this day. And then after that, we decided to explore the hotel. We were staying in the North Tower, and we really wanted to see what it was like on the South Tower as well. The first thing we decided to do within our own building, though, was head up to Peregrine, and that is the rooftop area of the hotel. It was stunning. It was really nice to be able to visit during the day because toward the end of the video, we were able to visit at nighttime, and it's just beautiful during both times. We were here ahead of 11 a.m., which is why it was closed, but it was really cool to also be able to check out the pool area, which is open sun up to sunset. Another really beautiful space. We went from the rooftop to the basement because we wanted to see the space for the fitness center. We just wanted to check it out to see what it was like, and it seemed like a decent enough space. But after that, we headed across the street to the South Tower. Now, we were hoping to check out anything that was open here, but nothing was really open. So the Wayward doesn't open until 5, so we weren't able to check out that spot. And I'm going to insert footage for Muse Boutique because we went back later when it was open. But when we had arrived, it was fairly early, and so the store had not been open originally when we first went. At this point, we were actually getting hungry and making our way toward a local cafe, but we ended up stopping by Cathedral Basilica of St. John the Baptist because we obviously couldn't just walk right by it. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is designed in a Gothic revival style, and its layout resembles a Latin cross. I think it's wild that this was rebuilt after a fire in 1898, and that fire destroyed all of the cathedral but the outside walls and the 2 spires. But if you get a chance to walk through, it is beautiful. So we were obviously even hungrier at this point, and we decided to stop at a local cafe. We just wanted to get something small because we were really enjoying just getting small bites at different places. And so we grabbed some pastries and some drinks, and then we headed to Forsyth Park. And This place was really, really sweet. It was actually very popular. The line was fairly long and it got even longer behind us, but we were glad that we stopped here. It was a really fun time, but it was really cool to go to Forsyth Park. We were really impressed by all of the parks that were here in Savannah, but Forsyth Park is pretty big. It is a 30-acre park and it is named for former Governor John Forsyth. After somewhat walking around, we headed back to the hotel to change, basically to do more walking around elsewhere. But it was nice to go back to the hotel and get champagne. I had mentioned it at check-in, but I didn't actually mention that champagne's basically offered all day, and they will happily put it in a transparent plastic cup so that you can carry it around, which is allowed in Savannah. Now, continuing on with our small bites, we stopped at this bakery that made phenomenal empanadas. I'm so glad that we found this spot. It was really good, and then from there we took a lift to Wormsloe State Historic Site. Now you can walk, bike, or use their service to get down the Oakland Avenue. I highly suggest biking. It is such a fun experience. It is a long walk if you choose to walk, but the bike was really nice. We just parked it at the front so that we could get into the actual museum part. And this was really interesting. This was self-guided, but the people there were incredibly knowledgeable if you had any questions. And this was my first time learning about tabby. I had no idea that tabby was a building material that they used, made out of oyster shells, lime, sand, and water. And this is just something that was incredibly helpful. The tabby ruin that I will show later on in this video is actually the oldest standing structure in Savannah. We were not here during a special event, but the Colonial Life area does sometimes have programs and events where they have demonstrators who dress in period clothing and they show different tools and skills of colonial Georgia. After dropping off some souvenirs back at the hotel, we headed back toward the river and checked out the Nest. Now, we went here just real quick for happy hour, and I completely forgot to film much while we were here, but the reason we wanted to go here was to check out the rooftop bar on the river. But after that, we ended up going back to the hotel to check out their rooftop bar, which was also really cool. And that is basically where I'm going to end this video. If you would like to see a part 2 where I show the next hotel that we stayed at and some of the other exploring that we did, make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss that next video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.